Hi, this is Dr. Mason. I'm going to cover the Neuron and Brain Lab and make a YouTube on that based on the models we have, a few microscope slides, and perhaps some specimens here. But get out your Neuron and Brain Lab parts to know document. I'm going to go pretty much straight down the list. We'll start with the nerve cells. Now, if you remember, nerve cells come with two types: neurons, which send the nerve messages, and neuroglia, which support the neurons in some way but do not send messages. I'm going to start with the neurons, actually. And we have a nice neuron model here, as you can see. Of course, neurons are microscopic, they're cells. And what we have first is the cell body of the neuron. I'm going to zoom in on it, and we can see that has a nucleus, like all cells do, in the middle. This is the cell body, also called the soma. We have a cell membrane and some organelles in there. Now, the cell body has some of these short extensions here. There's gray ones here. And those are called dendrites. And those are going to receive nerve messages from other neurons. This brownish structure is from another neuron. We'll get to that at the end here. Cell body with multiple gray short neuron or dendrites and the nucleus. Now, the main part of the neuron is this long tail-like structure called an axon. And that's going to send a nerve message away from the cell body to an organ or another neuron. Okay? So the axon, where it starts, this broad area where it starts off of the cell body, is called the axon hillock. And then you can see it continues as a long axon. Now, they cut the covering off of this axon, so now it continues here as the pink structure. And if you zoom in, you can see multiple mitochondria organelles. And then you can see the blue is some endoplasmic reticulum, probably. There. So you can see that axon continues, and you can see that it's surrounded by multiple layers of what we call myelin. That's the myelin sheath. It's made of fat, and it insulates the axon. There. The myelin sheath, or layers, are made by this special oval cell you see here, called a Schwann cell. And there's the nucleus of the Schwann cell right here. Schwann cell creates the myelin layers around the axon of the neuron. Here's another Schwann cell, starting here at this indentation. Comes down here, there's the nucleus. Here, now we put the outer covering back on it, but those are the myelin layers there. The junction of each Schwann cell with another Schwann cell here, indentation, is called a node of Ranvier. Those are going to help speed up the nerve impulse, as is the myelin, as we'll see in the lecture. So two Schwann cells there. We have another one beginning here. This gray is a connective tissue covering over the Schwann cell to protect it. That's called the endoneurium. It's not on your list. I believe that's in lecture 2. Now, if we take a cross section here of the end of the axon, we can see the pink axon, these multiple layers. Looks like a pumpkin roll to me here, but those layers are called the myelin, or myelin sheath. The whole area, beige area of the layers, is the Schwann cell, and that's the Schwann cell nucleus, and I said the gray is the endoneurium. The axon will continue, and actually I drew it in here because they cut the axon off, but the axon will continue and end in these terminals, axon terminals. So you can see the axon is splitting. I drew 3 axon terminals here. In reality, neurons have hundreds of axon terminals, even more. And what those axon terminals do is they lead to other neurons, or perhaps they're going to land on a muscle or an organ. Now, I have another cell body of another neuron here, and I'm just going to push it up here because remember I said those brownish structures, they look like mini toilet plungers to me. They are actually the axon terminals from another neuron. You can see about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them there. And of course, they're landing on the dendrites of this next neuron to continue the nerve impulse. We're going to learn about that coming up too. If I zoom in on one of these axon terminals, I see all these vesicles in here. They're going to contain a chemical called a neurotransmitter, which is going to help transmit the nerve impulse from this axon terminal to this new neuron. Dendrites receive nerve messages. Axons send nerve messages. Put that one there. And we have another one continue here. I'm going to jump over to the microscope slide here. Because on this microscope slide, well, let me show you this little picture of a poster here first. Here, we can see a neuron right in here. Cell body with center nucleus. You can see all these extensions. The longest extension is going to be the axon. And we have to follow it and see how long it is. It's also going to be a little wider. But you can see the neuron there. And what I'm trying to point out here, mainly, is that all those dark purple dots all around the neuron, those are neuroglia. Neuroglia, we said, are the supporting cells for the neuron. They're going to keep the neuron alive. They're going to feed it. They're going to protect it against bacteria. They're going to protect it physically. They're going to protect from chemicals. And they're also going to connect neurons one to another. So for every neuron, there's about 100 neuroglia. I have a microscope slide set up here also. And we'll just, it's neat that these cell phones now can zoom in on microscopes. See that white dot there? If I just go closer and closer and closer to that white dot, we can see there. Now that's hard to keep it still. I'll do my best. There. The pointer is pointing to a blue cell body of a neuron. You can see the faint nucleus. And we can see some extensions, axon and some dendrites. But look at those dark blue structures. All those dark blue structures, tiny, are the nucleuses of neuroglia. See about 2 neurons in there with multiple extensions. I see hundreds of dark purple neuroglia. And in this one here, if I zoom in on this one the same way, we can see a long single neuron magnified 400 times. Now here, by the pointer, look inside those marshmallow-like structures. The marshmallow-like structures are the Schwann cells with the myelin. But inside the marshmallow is a dark black line. That's the axon. And where the marshmallow structures join, those are the nodes of Ranvier. It's pretty neat being able to see a single neuron magnified 400 times. All right, I'll get these structures out of the way now. And we will move to the brains. Let's see, we have lots of brains here. So get out your list.